Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Commissioners, Assistant Chief Scott Harrelson, Executive Director Mr. Django Sibley, Madam Secretary, Inspector General Matthew Barragan, Mr. City Attorney Carlos de la Guerra, and members of the public. Today is Tuesday, February 10, 2026. It is 9:30 a.m. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect that Commissioners Sanchez Gordon, Shields, Garcia, Scobin, Tabor are present, and we have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. Welcome, Commissioners. We welcome everyone attending this meeting. All public comment will be heard during item number 3 on the agenda. We will dedicate a total of 60 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. Members of the public, if you choose to participate, you can. It is in the public comment portion of the agenda. You can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board, so you are free to express your opinion on matters before the board and to generally express you disagree with other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinions shall be deemed off topic and your public comment period will be concluded. Meeting to those attending meeting in person. Message. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. Excuse me. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via public comment period. During these meetings, there is a need for the board to carry out the public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only 1 warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. We will move to item 1, the report of the Chief of Police. Chief Harrelson, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, President Sanchez Gordon, Commissioners, Inspector General Barragan, City Attorney De La Guerra, and Executive Director Sibley. Today's report will cover the prior week. I will highlight key events, share our current crime stats, and provide an update on our current staffing levels. During the previous week, the department experienced 1 officer-involved shooting. Year to date, we were at 1, compared to 2 at the same point last year. The officer-involved shooting occurred in Southwest Division on February 5th at approximately 9:43 in the morning. A motor officer assigned to Transit Services Division was flagged down by personnel from the Los Angeles Fire Department regarding a man with a rifle near Figueroa Street and State Drive. The officer requested additional police resources, and uniformed officers from multiple divisions responded to the request and arrived at scene. The officers located the man, later identified as Holman Gomez, as he walked along State Drive. The officers verbalized with Gomez as he sat down on a nearby concrete bench. The officers continued to verbalize with Gomez when he stood up from the bench holding a rifle. Gomez pointed the rifle in the officer's direction, and an officer-involved shooting occurred. Gomez was struck by gunfire, collapsed onto the ground, and was taken into custody. The officers rendered medical aid until the arrival of LAFD paramedics. The Los Angeles Fire Department personnel arrived at scene and pronounced Gomez deceased. A rifle was recovered at the scene and booked as evidence. No community members were injured during this incident. Force Investigation Division responded to the scene and are handling the investigation. We also had a pursuit that resulted in a collision on February 8th at approximately 1:48 in the morning. A Southeast Patrol unit initiated a pursuit of a possible DUI driver near Hoover Street and 95th Street. A supervisor and air support also joined in the pursuit. The pursuit traveled outside the city with additional units authorized as needed, and tracking was initiated. During the pursuit, the suspect stopped on 2 occasions to drop off passengers, later determined to be juveniles. With the assistance from air support, both juveniles were located, detained, and subsequently released to their guardians without incident. While in tracking mode, the suspect entered the city of Glendale, where Glendale police briefly assumed the pursuit after observing the suspect run a red traffic signal. The suspect was able to evade the Glendale unit and re-entered LAPD jurisdiction, at which point a Northeast unit reinitiated the pursuit. The pursuit was terminated when the suspect failed to stop for a red traffic signal and collided with another motorist. The pursuit lasted approximately 45 minutes. A rescue ambulance transported the suspect to a hospital with serious injuries. The other motorist was treated at the scene for complaints of injury and did not require hospital transport. The department's multidisciplinary collision investigation team responded to the scene and is handling the traffic collision investigation. Southeast Patrol units will manage the arrest portion of the case. We also had an arson that unfortunately resulted in 2 homicides. This occurred on February 4th at approximately 2:55 in the morning. Los Angeles Fire Department responded to a structure fire at 1760 Vista Del Mar Avenue in Hollywood. Upon extinguishing the fire and entering the location, a female was discovered deceased. Another female was discovered and transported to Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital in critical condition and eventually succumbed to her injuries. The cause of the fire was determined to be arson. Further investigation revealed that multiple additional fires were reported in close proximity during the same early morning time period, as well as a similar fire reported in the area in late January. These incidents involved fires set to trash containers located adjacent to residential structures. No additional injuries were reported in connection with those fires. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division, Homicide Special Section, are actively canvassing affected areas, interviewing residents and witnesses, and reviewing available video evidence. The investigation remains ongoing, and detectives are continuing to review additional evidence as it becomes available. I'd also like to highlight a significant arrest made in Rampart area. On February 6th, Rampart Division officers conducted a targeted operation in the Wilshire Boulevard corridor between Valencia and Lucas Streets, an area identified as a crime cluster experiencing increased burglaries and thefts. Rampart detectives and senior lead officers conducted enforcement in conjunction with a Care Plus cleanup operation. The enforcement portion of the operation resulted in 16 arrests and the recovery of a loaded firearm. Those arrests included 4 felony warrant arrests, 8 misdemeanor warrant arrests, 2 probation violations, 1 arrest for receiving stolen property involving a stolen motorcycle. That individual was also on parole, and 1 arrest for possession of a dirk or dagger. The operation significantly improved conditions in the area ahead of the scheduled cleanup and addressed both public safety concerns and quality of life issues impacting the surrounding community. I'll now move on to crime for the week ending February 7th of this year. All analysis is based on offense counts through February 7th. Compared to year-to-date 2025, overall crime continues to decline citywide, with combined person and property crimes down 17.9%, representing 2,156 fewer crimes. Person crimes are down 7.7%, while property crimes are down 20.5% year-to-date. With respect to violent crime, homicides are down 9.4% year-to-date, a reduction of 3 cases compared to last year. Victims shot citywide are down 11.1% year-to-date. Aggravated assaults remain relatively flat year-to-date. They're down 1.1%. Robberies continue to trend downward. Year-to-date robberies are down 17% compared to 2025, which is 140 fewer cases. Burglaries are down significantly, with total burglaries down 31.7% year-to-date. Residential burglaries are down 34.6%, and non-residential burglaries are down 26.6%. Motor vehicle thefts continue to show strong improvement, down 30.3% year-to-date. Overall, the data reflect continued progress in reducing crime citywide, while allowing us to quickly identify and respond to emerging patterns through focused enforcement and deployment. And finally, our current personnel strength as of February 9th for sworn is 8,727. For our civilian professional staff, we are at 2,484, and our reserve officers stand at 333. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief. We will now move on to the report of the Inspector General.
Good morning, Commissioners. Last week, this commission approved the department's Traffic Enforcement Alternatives Report, which included updated data on pretextual stops. Separately, the OIG is initiating a new traffic stop review to provide a deeper analysis of how pretextual stops are being used in practice. We're starting this work as stakeholders have raised this issue directly with my office, and we know there is strong public interest in how this policy is being implemented. My staff will review traffic stops conducted since the department adopted its revised pretextual stop policy in 2022. These changes were intended to balance effective crime prevention with respect for the communities LAPD serves. Our review will examine officers' actions during traffic stops for compliance with department policy and will analyze data using a representative sampling methodology. This project will help us understand how the policy is playing out in the field, whether it is being applied consistently, and whether it correlates with identifiable trends, including the use of pretextual stops and their outcomes. This work responds to community concerns about racially biased policing and the role of implicit bias in who gets stopped. Some advocates are concerned by racial disparities in the data. Others emphasize the need to ensure officers can intervene when criminal activity is suspected. Independent oversight plays a critical role in that conversation. This matters for public trust. It also matters for accountability. Clear, independent analysis helps ensure that policy changes are meaningful in practice. When the review is complete, we will present our findings to the Commission as part of our regular reporting, and we will also be available to brief City Council. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Inspector General. Do any of the commissioners have a question regarding the report of the Chief of Police or the report of the Inspector General? Mr. Scobin, Commissioner?
Yeah, thank you. Chief. One question that I had on, I'm curious to maybe get a report back of the 333 reserve officers. It'd be helpful to get an understanding of what they're actually contributing to our workforce. I'm curious to understand what, if any, patrol is being done by then. Week after week, we hear, we're short, and I just want to make sure that we're starting to look at every opportunity that we have to do a better job of covering the city.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can get you a report and total breakdown of the different levels of reserves, level 1, 2, and 3, how many are working patrol, how many are assigned to other assignments as well. We'll break that all down for you. We can get that for you within the week.
Thank you.
Any question to the Inspector General, Commissioner Scobin? No. All right. Commissioner Tabor, any questions? Commissioner Garcia?
Thank you for the report, both of you. For the Inspector General, regarding the pretextual stops, I was in a subcommittee for several years working on updating that policy, and so I'm looking forward to your report back and seeing the results of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shields, any questions?
Yes, thank you. Assistant Chief Harrelson, with regards to the pursuit collision that ended with a accident, were the officers in tracking mode at the time of the collision, and will that whole entire pursuit be examined to determine whether or not it was in policy?
Yes, we were in tracking mode. In fact, they were completely out of sight at the time that the traffic collision occurred. It was actually observed by the air unit, at which point they rolled up on it. But yes, the multi-collision investigation team responded. They're doing a comprehensive investigation, and we should have a pre-briefing on that next week.
Wonderful, thank you. And with regards to the injuries, I understand, was it the driver of the vehicle seriously injured? And how about the other vehicle that was impacted?
I'm sorry, the driver of the vehicle had the significant injuries, a spinal injury. The other vehicle that he struck was just complained of injuries only. No medical treatment was rendered at scene. The suspect vehicle, after he collided with the third party, he hit a curb, which caused his car to overflip, which was the cause of his significant injury.
Thank you. It's a tragedy all around. I wish there were ways to limit this type of collisions. And I know that in terms of it's good to know that the officers weren't, immediately right behind them or trying to essentially de-escalate the situation so that they don't engage in this type of reckless behavior that results in collisions of individuals who are not at all involved and then being struck. So thank you for that report. And with regards to, in the last week, have there been any other significant demonstrations or First Amendment assemblies that have occurred? And have there been any issues in connection with the use of less lethal or reporter issues?
So, yes, last week we had several student walkouts that occurred here in downtown as well as in the Valley. The one that occurred in the Valley, we had over 600 students that responded to the Van Nuys Civic Center. They did start to spill off into the street, at which point the incident commander out there was able to meet with the organizers of that, have a conversation, and they all moved back up onto the sidewalk and continued to exercise their First Amendment rights. The one here at downtown that we had, there was some minor acts of vandalism. There were some objects that were thrown at our officers. However, they stayed in a crowd management posture and did not move into crowd control techniques.
Thank you. Hey, everyone in the audience, if you...
Excuse me. Please. Proceed, Commissioner.
No, thank you. Thank you. And Chief Harrelson, given the increase in the number of First Amendment assemblies, unlawful assemblies, all of that, and in connection with the department's response to them, it would be helpful for us to kind of be briefed on that regularly, just so that we know. We only hear about certain ones, so it's good to know when they've happened and if there have been issues that have arisen in them. So thank you. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, we're going to move into public comment period. We will have 1 hour to do public comment, and you will have 3 minutes within that hour. Beyond the hour, if there are still persons who have submitted a card and have not been heard, you will be given 1 minute. I really want all of you to be heard. You come here for public comment, we're going to make that opportunity happen, but you will be given 1 minute after the 60-minute. Madam Secretary, call the first card, please.
Okay, the first card, last name Flores. Flores? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am, for the record, Alpha and the Omega, Jesus, the name above all names, and also the Messiah, the second coming of the second advent, called Azusa Street Revival. To God be the glory. For the record, I would like to speak on behalf of the authority that I carry here in this city, because God has placed me to protect and serve, not to train to kill. As a protect and serve, it means to believe it, not a false illusion. So speaking the John 5:22 stating while the Father judges no one, he has entrusted all judgment to Jesus, the Son, I am that I am, so that everyone honors the Father and the Son, and they honor. This means that Jesus holds the authority for the final judgment, determine the eternal life or condemnation based on the faith in him. With believers, they are declared not guilty. For the record, this would have been the city of Los Angeles, the lake of fire, Sodom and Gomorrah. But since I'm the judge and God has given all authority to me, I choose to forgive the police department because the people prayed for you because of the enemies that they seen that you were against the people. So this is why I speak on behalf of the police department. You are here and you're called to do a job and a duty for the people in a obstruction, not a destructive way, because it's called retribution, which is punishment. So karma is real. This is why there's been a timeline shift. We're in a new generation called the new age of the golden age. So to protect and serve is not to train to kill anymore, because I have released all judgment against you. But I call back the judgment, and I've given you a second chance to correct this problem in the city and to be right with the people, because it's somebody's child out there that's dying. And the people wouldn't be here if there was not a problem, correct? So I need all this to be corrected, because I'm, according to Isaiah 9:6, unto us a son is born and a son is given, and the government should be upon his shoulders. So the people here represent the government. So if you don't listen to the government and you do your own thing, that means you're not following the protocol of protect and serve. Does that make sense? So, being that said, God has honored to not judge this city anymore, because this was a city that was going to be destroyed as Sodom and Gomorrah. For the Bible, for it's written, Babylon shall fall, and Babylon has fallen to his death.
Next, we have Star over Zoom.
Good morning.
Good morning. What items would you like to speak on?
I just all three items, please. 3 minutes. Thank you. I just wanted to thank the chief for his report. Thank you for the details. And once again, I just wanted to thank LAPD for all their services and all their hard work, and for being there in the community and helping to make our community safer. Some of our communities are so unsafe, and I stress this every week. We're tired of being unsafe in our neighborhoods. We really, really are. So thank you to law enforcement on behalf of the community members that live in the city. We do need you there. We do want you there, and we do support you being there. So we emphasize that, and thank you for all the community events that you have for the kids and for the families. It means a lot. And we look forward to having more of those. I'm sorry for all the abuse the LAPD is taking. Some of it has nothing to do with LAPD, but unfortunately, they end up taking the brunt of this nonsense from the people hurling objects at them and abusing them, and water bottles. It's the same old scenario. So thank you for all your efforts. And LAPD is the best of the best. We continue to support you. You're a very diverse group, and we appreciate the sergeants and the officers engaging with the people in the community and just going day to day, day after day. Taking the positive with the negative. So thank you for all you do. We community members and community homeowners that have been here for over 50 plus years, we support you, and we will always be there for you. Thank you so much. I yield the rest of my time.
Next, we have Andrew Graebner.
Okay, so starting off with the chief's report, which should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes at every meeting. If the chief's report exceeds 3 minutes, we shall match the amount of time the chief takes. Regardless of how long the chief takes to give his report, everyone should be able to speak both in person and on the phone. So a few things of concern today in the chief's report. So first of all, there was something mentioned about how you've asked a lot of questions about the high-speed car chases and all the injuries they're causing. Maybe there's a good question of why does the LAPD need to be doing these high-speed car chases? I know they give good TV ratings for the, TV stations. They love them and want you to do more of them, but they're really unsafe for the community, and they're causing so many residual injuries. Like, how are these even worth it? How is it worth it to be speeding at 90 miles an hour down a freeway to make sure that they get someone faster when it's causing so many safety hazards? But that's the LAPD. It's try to kill as many people as possible. Deadliest police force in the nation. So let's go ahead and just go on to the consent agenda. A lot of stuff on that. Let's see. So the consent agenda. We've got Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. What about all the crimes that the LAPD is committing against children? Like, it sounds like the LAPD recently detained... You said something about how the LAPD detained possibly unrelated kids? How are the kids responsible for the crimes of their parents? And what do you mean by detained? Are they being put in kids being put in a jail cell just because their parent got arrested? Is that what's going on? So, we've got multiple items related to the Baker to Vegas event. Now, if you look at their documents, you'll see that that Baker to Vegas also has ICE teams. They have ICE agents participating in it. So you're now participating in an event that also hosts ICE agents. So that's a very good question of why you're doing that. So we have another police dog. I wonder which kennel that police dog is coming from. Is it the kennel named after Hitler's bunker? Because that's usually where you get the dogs from, and you've now started hiding the kennel after a city council member called you out for it. So to make it harder to tell that you're probably still getting dogs from the kennel named after Hitler's bunker. A lot of vacations for the police chief. Let's hear from all speakers today. If you have time to sit for 5 hours in closed session sitting on your hands to trying to figure out how to justify ruling every single shooting out of policy or in policy, then you can have time to give everyone for the full 3 minutes in person and on Zoom.
Next, we have John Avalos over Zoom. John Avalos, you're on.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes. What items would you like to speak on?
Oh, can I have the 3 minutes, please?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm really concerned about these chases, police chases going on. Yes, I get a sense from the local news that they love the police chases, and they get ratings. Yet they're chasing supposedly somebody who was drunk driving. Why can't the helicopter just follow them until they stop somewhere? Why do they have to chase the guy if the helicopter has them in sight? Too much danger. I just don't feel good about police chases. And usually they're chasing somebody who stole a car. Yeah, the car is so valuable over human lives. It's pretty weird. And I always wondered about the dogs that the police use. There seems to be no oversight on how they use the dogs, when they use the dogs. Nobody is questioning that, and all the money that probably goes into the dog program. Nobody's asking about that. They're probably very highly paid people in taking care of these dogs, which is good. I love the dogs, but I don't know. I don't think there's oversight there either. So, I don't understand. The final thing is Keith Porter. Why have you not arrested that guy? It looks like, the guy that killed the cop, the ICE agent, it's still like the police have done cannot protect us from ICE. That is so, oh, it's crazy that the LAPD just cannot protect us from ICE, and ICE continues to destroy us. And the police, our own police, cannot do that. I can't believe my tax money goes.
Okay, next we have Zane Jalrain.
Thank you. So I'll start by saying there is no thin blue line. There's only one big blue planet that we all live on, and history will remember what you decide to do with the power that you have access to. So first, going back to last week and Jim McDonald's ridiculous comment about not enforcing the no mask law, for clarity and civilian oversight, an attempt to enforce accountability as well as sustainable policing, only part of the No Police Act was blocked by Judge Christina A. Snyder. She did, however, uphold ICE agents needed to have some form of individual identification beyond their uniform stating what agency they work for. So, has LAPD begun training to enforce this? And what countermeasures are in place to stop regular citizens from impersonating ICE agents? What is to stop anyone from ordering a full uniform off Temu, getting in an SUV, taking the license plates off, and just kidnapping and murdering whoever they feel like deserves it? Have you genuinely put thought into this? Because on both sides of the country, there are contrasting opinions. There are people who want the ICE agents to do exactly what they're doing. And there are people who have no training whatsoever who could literally impersonate an ICE agent and accomplish the same exact thing that these ICE agents are doing in much more violent ways. So what is to be done about stopping people from impersonating ICE agents if we're not going to enforce the no mask law and we're not going to force them to identify themselves? These are things that you seriously need to consider. Because if you do not reconsider your stance on this, my Second Amendment right becomes more and more important in real time. And that's up to you to decide what that means. But again, like I said last week, I will not go quietly into the night. I'm not afraid of you, of anybody in here. And if anybody in here decided to violate my rights, I would send them to hell. And I'll say it again if you need me to. I don't want to. Nobody in their right minds wants to be walking around feeling like this. But I deserve to live. I have a right to live. And I will not surrender that right to live by people who don't give a fuck about due process. Due process is the thing that makes America what it is. Without due process, we're just as bad as any dictator nation around the world. And we are progressively encroaching upon those standards. So find a conscience, do your fucking job, get off your asses, or else we will be forced to use our Second Amendment right to protect ourselves in the ways that you refuse to. Do your fucking job.
Next we have Audit LA.
Good morning. I just want to talk about Scientology, of course, but I want to put it, trying to make it more personal so I can hopefully get through to you, like how serious it is what these people are going through inside those buildings. I want you to imagine it was your family member in Sea Org, say somebody 18, somebody young that they recruited. Okay, they would not be able to just go home and visit you whenever you choose, whenever they would like or you would like. They would need permission to maybe occasionally have a visitation with you. And when they come back, they will have to go on the e-meter and be grilled like they are a criminal, okay? Like an investigation. And if there's any hint that you're not satisfied with them being in Scientology and they're not satisfied, then guess what? There's no more visitations. They're not allowed phones, so you will not be able to call them. They would just disappear in there. And if it got to the point where they are really hostile towards, say, David Miscavige or Scientology, they're going to end up likely in their RPF, their jail, okay, where they will not be able to talk unless spoken to, They will have to run everywhere, eat after everyone else, and it's just a humiliation process. This could be your child, your grandchild. Okay. And if that same person is a victim of a crime, say a sexual assault, even though everyone in there is a mandated reporter, nobody is going to report it. And your daughter or son will not be able to go to the police and report their victimization. They will be, they cannot. And they cannot just leave. They can't just go to the store if they want to. I want you to make it personal so you understand this could be your family member. And it is a lot of people's family members. And they are coerced and they are made to be afraid of, the outside world. And they are not allowed to go do anything outside. It's an extremely high control group. And guess what? You have them representing Scientology. You have people representing Scientology on your CPAPs. The same people who may be a dorm bunk mate with your child who cannot talk to you anymore, who is on the RPF, that same person may know all this because they know what's going on and be advising you in your CPAD meetings and trying to tell you that everyone who's standing up for them, like myself and others, we're the bad guys. We're an angry mob. We're haters. We don't care about the religious rights and all this stuff. Oh, I don't believe anyone has a religious right to harm people. Okay, and so that's not anything to do. I don't care. They can go on e-meters and they can whatever their religious practices. That's as long as it's consenting adults and nobody's being harmed. That's on them. But what their practices, it's their actual practices. And I want you guys to look into this. I want you to take it serious. They do not allow victims of crimes, of any crimes, to report it. Look at what Danny Masterson's victims went through. They were excommunicated because after years of Scientology.
Thank you. Next, we have Tran Son Ha.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning, new Chief Scott Harrison. So I want my message to you, support me. I'm here for We Fight Better for America and around the world. So I have to say that again. I am a person very important, right, and safety for all people living in United States of America and around the world. I want you, everybody, please support me. It's not about me, it's about safety for all of us. And this is very important. But if you support me, I don't ask you for the money and for anything. It's all make strong, support me, and we change is a better life for everybody. We don't come here fighting with the police or fighting with everybody. If you support me, you change your life better. We all better. I cannot do that, but I have to say that over and over again. If you support me, and good for you, it's good for everybody, good for around the world. I come here every meeting, I talk about this, but it's very important. Thank you everybody. Please support me. God bless America. God bless around the world for all human rights. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next, we have Michael Williams.
I'm shocked that this commission sits around and doesn't care about police attacking students. because that's exactly what happens. And the fact that you guys don't even monitor social media to see what's happening when we all have seen the videos of them attacking students. One of y'all who face planted trying to chase a student down. That crowd control posture? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's the same thing that we keep talking about, is that this commission is full of crap, that you guys don't do anything. You don't do the bare minimum research to say, hey, let me look. I know there was protests. There was a student walkout. Let's look to see what actually happened. Let's see if I can find videos online to see what the police were doing. You guys don't even do that. And that's bare minimum research. Like, literally bare minimum research. You guys are so concerned, and you guys will get up here and condemn protesters, people who are trying to do whatever they can to stop their families from being kidnapped by ICE. Again, worried about people in the crowd disrupting this meeting instead of worrying about what is real. Because nobody in this crowd has killed anyone. No one in this crowd has hurt anyone. None of the protesters have killed anyone. But you know who has killed someone? Brian Palacios, the ICE pig that killed Keith Porter Jr. And y'all refuse to do anything about him. You refuse to do anything about him. You didn't arrest him immediately like you've arrested all these protesters. You don't give the protesters the benefit of the doubt that they were defending themselves. But for some reason, for an ICE pig, that's granted. And he's still free. He's still free. He didn't have to get bailed out. He didn't have to have his family come get him. He was let go that day. Y'all are more worried about what protesters are doing when they're just trying to fight for their families, for their communities. They're not going to sit idly by like y'all while ICE takes their family members. And yeah, if they're going to throw things at the ICE agents, they're going to barricade the ICE agents inside because they're trying to do whatever they can to make sure their family members don't get kidnapped by ICE. 32 people that we know of have been killed in ICE custody. Being arrested by ICE could be a death sentence. It could be a sentence to an El Salvadorian concentration camp. So no, they're not going to go peacefully. They're not going to be peaceful. And if y'all won't do your jobs and protect people, then they're going to do it for you.
Greg Akili. Greg Akili.
I pray blessings in this room. I'm Pastor Q from the church with our wall, Skid Row, also with Clue, co-convener of the Black and Brown. Jesus' disciples asked him for a position of power. His response was, do not lord it over the people like ungodly people do. The word do not lord it is the same word that is used when a man possessed with demons overcame 7 people. So that means demonic power or the misuse of power is demonic in nature. Therefore, allowing people to hide their faces while they brutalize our community member is demonic in power or in nature. Now, I blame the mayor for this chief because he was clear that he opposed our sanctuary policy and we got rid of him, but she still placed him back in power. Is that all right? We don't need to ask the words of Florence Reese, which side are you on, Chief? Because we know which side you're on. You made it clear you're on ICE side. Thus, we knew this police chief has always been on the side of ICE. Therefore, I challenge you, Chief. Cast out your demonic support for ICE. It's the least you can do, and it's the law. Lastly, are you protecting your authority or are you protecting the people? That's what demonic power is. It's the ability to abuse people with no accountability and shunning accountability, abusing people in the midst of the people and telling them they didn't see what they saw. Don't come to us saying ICE this and ICE that when you are exactly of the same nature. You abuse your power and then you try to hide behind politics and politics to make people feel like you're on their side. But the people obviously don't think you're on their side. As a man of God, I can see through the nonsense. It's like the church that claims to love God, but watch little Liam, love God, but watch little Liam brutalized and taken from his family by ICE. LAPD and ICE are no different. If they were, the police chief would enforce the mask policy.
Next, we have Dr. Melina Abdullah.
So on the way over here, we were disappointed to learn that Chief McDonald wasn't here. And that's a kind of cowardly move that we expect from him. He knows that we're calling for him to be fired, and he should be fired. I was disappointed because I get some almost sense of it, there's a therapeutic value in being able to cuss him out to his face. Especially when he unleashes police on our children. Unleashes police on our children. Many of you are parents. How could you sit there and allow him to unleash police on our children? I think it's disgusting that you all have forgotten what you're charged with doing. And I know that you have political ambitions. I know Teresa wanted to be a, what do they call it, celebrity judge, and that failed miserably. And so you're here to make a name for yourself, but what kind of name are you making? What kind of name are you making? When you sat here and let this racist white man be in charge when you're supposed to be in charge. You're supposed to be representing the people, but instead you're fearful of his supposed white male power. You won't shut him up, but you'll tell a 6-month-old child to control their conversation. How can a baby control its conversation? Are you afraid of him? I want to remind you that you all, as a police commission, have the power to fire the police chief. This police chief has allowed the murderer of a black man, a black father, who did everything he was supposed to do, to just sit there and live his life. He refused to name or arrest Brian Palacios, let alone put him forward for charges. He's been colluding with ICE since he got voted out as sheriff. He's doing all of these things and most recently allowed police to attack our children, and you just sit there. So I'm glad he's not here today because we get to talk to you and say, get some courage. You do have to say, maybe we can't ask him what side he's on. We already know what side the devil's on. But what side are you on? What side are you on? Are you going to hold him accountable or only wield your so-called power over the people who are here to do the right thing, to do the righteous thing? You have a choice. How are you going to act? Who are you going to be? Are you going to be a part of the devil's plan? Or are you going to be a part of what's...
William Good.
Good morning. Assistant Chief, you're full of shit just like your boss. You were asked about these police chases, and I gotta tell you something. These police chase crashes, they're endemic. Usually, the cops that are getting in crashes aren't even involved in the chase. They're trying to catch up to the chase. And what are they chasing? It's usually over a stolen car, which is a fucking property crime. Not a murder, not a rape, a property crime. And whenever they do recover the cars, they're usually demolished. So why are we putting the public at risk? Now, Raj, also with this guy right here, you know, you're talking about pretextual stop policy. It's all bullshit. There's a huge exemption which says that the cops can't do pretextual stops unless in their professional judgment they think that they should. That's a huge fucking loophole. It means nothing. I'll go out here this week, I'll go tape 5 pretextual stops and show them to you. It's nonstop. I don't care what your fucking report says. Now, you also, Rashi asked about, you know, were any press abuses during protests this week? Yes! How come you didn't volunteer that? It's listed on the U.S. Press Tracker. One of your fucking cops went and hit a journalist in the hand with a baton. You don't mention that? And this is part of a pattern. The LAPD got a restraining order against it for beating up press. You got an injunction against it for beating up press. Did anybody hear Karen Bass criticize him for that? Not one time. She'll go and talk about Don Lemon getting arrested by ICE, but not about the other press in this town that are being violated and arrested. Karen Bass has not said one fucking word. She has not criticized the police one time since she's been in office. But you want to know something? The LAPD is given special access to Fox and New York Post, who then go out here and harass activists, show up in their house, take pictures of their houses, and post them in their papers, and then misgender their kids and post in the pictures. They're doing that on behalf of the LAPD. Now, I got to tell you something. This is not a MAGA town. Donald Trump got 26% of the vote here. But yet MAGA journalists are getting all this special access to do this dirtbag stuff, showing up at journalists' house, harassing them. You know what? It's going to come back at you. I knew where you guys were last night or 2 nights ago for the Super Bowl. I'm going to start showing up at all your shit. We're going to post everybody else's pictures, journalists, activist pictures. We'll post your fucking pictures. And I got to tell you something. It's gotten out of control. And again, it really starts with Karen Bass. If Karen Bass is reelected, this shit is going to get even worse. We got to get her dumbass out of office because they've given you full control to do whatever you want, and it's got to stop now. Also, last week, you guys sit there and voted in that shooting as in policy. That's bullshit. Scobin, good job. You're the only one that gets it, and fuck the rest of you.
Glenn?
Good morning. I don't want to be here, but I'm compelled to address this commission, despite serious doubts that you meaningfully listen or respond to the public that this department is supposed to serve. Feel free to actually look at the speakers up here, not your screens, by the way. If you want respect, how about you finally give it? Let me address the drone as first responder program. Any tool that claims to improve response time or reduce confrontation sounds positive on paper and perhaps can be, but only if it comes with real transparency and civilian oversight, which is your fucking jobs. Many of us don't blindly trust surveillance technologies that centralize movement and behavioral data of citizens who've done nothing. What prevents mission creep? This commission? That brings me to process, because last week, as has happened on multiple occasions, and I barely pay attention to these commissions, you guys failed process with a ton of public interest. Instead of extending comment last week, you just adhered technically to the Brown Act, President Sanchez Gordon, but not the spirit. Doing the minimum when public interest was high. And yes, today you finally decided to use your discretion after outcry that you completely silenced people. But how many did you silence last week? How many people on Zoom are not going to get on today? How many people spent hours preparing 3 minutes and they're going to get 1 minute at best, and on Zoom you're telling them to go kiss their ass? And that choice tells us the public exactly how seriously they're taken by this commission. So today I'm reclaiming the time this body chose to not give me last week. This commission's role is not to provide civilian cover for this LAPD, it is to oversee them. When the chief takes a unilateral position on enforcing state law, the commission's job is to challenge that significantly, not do performative politics with a token question or two and just move on like you did last week. It was pathetic. And of course, he's not here today to stand like a man to face the fire. as his stand-in gaslights us on the protest that we've all seen the damn video for. What the fuck, man? The No Secret Police Act was passed in response to public outcry. And before it worked its way through the courts, the chief publicly announced that LAPD would not enforce it against federal agents. The judge ruled, I know what the situation is there. The identification is required. There's a possibility he can come back for the mask thing, but he still declared non-enforcement in advance. So I have a request. Please publish the list of other laws LAPD has unilaterally decided are too inconvenient to enforce, so the public knows which rules are now optional for everyone else. The chief said enforcing a misdemeanor violation on another law enforcement agency, well, that's not going to end well. You know what's not already ending well? Masked, unidentified federal agents stopping citizens in public without cause or warrants, drawing guns and refusing basic transparency. When it looks like abduction, that's not public safety. He says it's just a misdemeanor. Is that the new standard? If enforcing a misdemeanor is too inconvenient or risky, LAPD just shrugs, child welfare checks or domestic violence calls where someone might resist. I wish I could vote you guys out, but it's gonna make my mission to become your next nightmare.
Miriam Nunez Falovinos.
Buenos días. Por motivos de seguridad, no daré el discurso en español. For safety reasons, I will not be speaking in Spanish. Good morning. My name is Miriam Nunez Valdovinos. I recently moved into the city after being terrorized out of the previous environment. Despite filing numerous credible fear to human life and safety reports, not much has changed. I'm forced to waste my time contacting the police whenever I receive a death or bomb threat, at the expense of the persecutory behaviors I have been a victim of after being a repeated victim of perpetrators associated with domestic violence case 21WHRO00796. In my experience, all of the following crimes have taken place without ever receiving support with arrests. 1, verbal harassment. 2, stalking. 3, physical assault. 4, death threats. And 5, bomb threats. The severity of the situation has included third-party victimization by some, not all of your employees, and all of the following unprofessional methods. 1, verbal hate speech. 2, ridiculization, minimization, and gaslighting. 3, hypersexualization. 4, prolonged waiting to receive a copy of an incident report. 5, retaliation and negligence when I file complaint forms. Some of the recent reports have been directly filed via email to the chief of police in hopes of receiving support. Since I have not had the privilege to introduce myself to him or you in person, I'm here with the intention of receiving a public acknowledgement of who I am and why I'm concerned. I believe that in the correspondence, I revealed that I am the niece of former politicians who have served in office, and that I have had the privilege of serving as a professor of record at Cal State Long Beach. I believe I also mentioned there are active investigations that pertain to deliberate attempts at human trafficking against me, and that my concerns of finding and keeping full-time employment after neither attempted restraining orders, the person mentioned in the domestic violence cases, were upheld by the court because I was and am still the victim. I have not been able to find or keep employment. If I could receive words of reassurance that my credible fear for human life and safety will be taken seriously by your department, including dispatchers, and their performance, I would greatly appreciate you for reassuring me. And I do have
David Carter. David Carter. Okay. Desanka Fasikska.
Hello again. There have been some extremely amazing speakers here today, and I really hope that you will take everything that they say seriously. I have a question about the people that are able to comment on Zoom. Why are they allowed to do so without giving their full name? If we're not seeing their faces, and the people that are coming up here are coming in here publicly and giving our full names, why are they allowed not to do so? It seems highly unfair. I'd also like to address the police chases. I agree with what everybody's been saying, and I also want to note that ICE also chases people and rams their cars into people. They're extremely unsafe. Why is that not being addressed? Why are they allowed to chase after people, hit people with their cars, cause property destruction themselves, because apparently that's all you guys really care about is property destruction. So why are they allowed to do such a thing without any accountability? We already know that you're not going to uphold the mask ban, which makes everybody in the city unsafe, as we know. There's nobody here that is safe while there are masked men allowed to run around this town accosting people. I certainly don't feel safe. And finally, I am a mother. I'm sure you guys are parents as well. Last week, students from LAUSD marched. They were accompanied by chaperones. They had homemade signs, and it was peaceful. They marched from their schools or took buses to downtown and protested in front of the City Hall and then marched over to MDC, where they were met with militarized police officers with batons out and in full lines. No one came out to just talk to them, thank them for using their First Amendment rights. Instead, they were met with violence. They were chased, they were beaten, they were shot at with less lethals. And there's one officer in particular that I'd like to address that I would like to be held accountable. Jose Jaime, he pushed down a young teenage girl to the ground. There's also a man here that was hit in the face with less lethals. Would you like to show your picture? Oh, it was with the baton? Yeah. Why? Why is this allowed to happen? We are just coming out to use our First Amendment rights. Why are we being treated like this by LAPD? I don't understand how it is that you can collaborate with ICE and then really
Gina Viola.
Council week before last that at any given time, there are only 1,000 LAPD officers out on patrol. You have more than 8,000 currently employed at LAPD. There's something up with that, right? That's 7,000 people. So it only took me a little bit of time to connect those dots about why Jim McDonnell and this department will not enforce the mask ban. Because I think he knows what we all know, which is your officers have always moonlighted. You've always been movie cops. You've always been private security. You've always done security for Scientology on the side. And now we know you're ICE agents. That's why he doesn't want to remove the mask. Because we will be able to identify the LAPD officers masquerading around as ICE, getting paid 2 salaries to terrorize our city. We know there's LA sheriffs in there. I mean, this is the reason Karen Bass appointed him as police chief, because he does collaborate with ICE. She knew the Olympics were coming. She wants to make this the mega capital of sporting events. So she knew she was going to need an ICE-loving slave catcher to clean up her city for mega events. So here we have Jim McDonnell running cover for ICE, and you all do nothing about it. I've told you many, many times, resign. You need to resign. There are people that would do this job and actually try and make a difference. As Melina said earlier, you are all here to further your careers. Look where Steve Soberoff is now. Look where Shay Murphy Goldsmith is now. Lou Kalanche is running for office. She's running for city council after sitting on this dais, or I don't even know what this is, but you have to resign. If you're not going to do this job, you have to resign. We have been coming to this meeting for decades, telling you that nobody wants to come to this building to participate in this process. I had to walk somebody around all of the fenced-in stanchions this morning just to get in here. You don't care about the public's input. You're keeping us out. You lock us out of the process. You need to move the place, day, and time of these meetings. When is the last time you had one out in the community? When? Because you can't handle it. When you have them out in the community, I was present for the last one. Hundreds of people showed up. Hundreds. And you know that, so it's by design. You don't even have to add the fence for us to know what disdain you have for us and the voice that we bring to you. Well, I'm here to tell you that we know full well what's going on here. We know why he won't enforce the mask ban, because clearly it's another moonlighting job for the LAPD. So I'm gonna keep saying it until your fucking demons start doing your goddamn jobs. Seriously. How much more do you think we can take of this? Students, babies, protesters, public,
Aida Ashuri. Aida Ashuri.
This is my 4th or 5th meeting, and I'm finally able to give a public comment. And this is a big concern if you're not facilitating public comment per Brown Act requirements. And I just want to start off with this. And where is a police chief today? He's supposed to be here responding to our comments because I want to be able to talk to him directly. It's not up to him to make a political decision on whether to follow the law that was decided by lawmakers. I used to advise judges, and if a judge decided to not follow a law because it conflicted with their personal views, they would be removed. They would be voted out, and you cannot even follow the law on the books for arresting officers committing more egregious acts like murder. You are a public servant and must listen to the city attorney, mayor, and district attorney, and when I'm city attorney, you will be following my orders to arrest ICE agents because you work on our time. The board's job is to make sure the chief is doing his job, and he isn't. He arrested 37 people at a sweep for what? Costing taxpayers money, responded to children protesting with an outright show of force, firing less lethals at children. I led a walkout of 1,500 students when I was 17, and I didn't recall a single police interaction, and that was in Whittier. Why is there such a low bar here? You can't even do the basics of the job of following the law. McConnell needs to be removed. How are you meeting this moment if you aren't holding them accountable for their failures? If you're doing that, you are a facilitator. Your job is to oversee the chief of police, period. You should not be approving weapons and military surveillance technology. You should be opening an investigation into LAPD's cooperation with ICE, with its data sharing of automatic license plate readers with ICE's use of the flock cameras that you approved. These Police Foundation donations are a way to bypass any accountability. It's a way to keep these military weapons and surveillance, which is another form of war on the people, in the dark. We don't know how much money or resources are being used for this technology. I submitted a Public Records Act request about flock cameras, and I was completely blown off on how much money is being spent on flock cameras, and I'm waiting for an answer. This technology is enabling ICE and Project 2025, and our local and state government, controlled completely by Democrats, is supporting it. We cannot call ourselves a sanctuary city anything while this continues. We have a city of lawlessness. The law is not being enforced against the folks harming people, but harm is being directed towards the defenseless poor and protesters. It's time for us to have real leadership that actually uses their position to support the people and not the powerful.
Laura Anderson. Laura Anderson.
Oh, hello, there we are. I want to echo everything that everybody just said, and I also want to bring to your attention Where does the money go? There's a lot of everything by the LAPD. You're always wanting money. You're trying to recruit new LAPD members, right? There's somehow you are getting money. And I've done my investigation and I continue to do it. And one of the biggest, like somebody else mentioned, one of the biggest landowners is Scientology of Los Angeles properties in Hollywood. So where do you think, if you're not sure where money is coming from, but yet you let them run the whole Hollywood Christmas parade, you let them run all of these private, events they have that you guys allow permits for their recruiting technique. This is how they do it. They have their own divisions that literally are meant to infiltrate your jobs, infiltrate the city. You have Janet Whelan, who's on your CPAPS board. Nobody talks about that. She's an internal slave of Scientology. She gets paid less than $47 a week. She has major arthritis. You can see it when she goes to the boards. She can't move around. Scientology do not believe in physical health care. They don't believe in psychiatry. Their number one enemy is psychiatry. Yet you're receiving donations and money, millions a year from Scientology infiltrated groups. So if you are listening on the board, I literally sat here and wrote every single person's name, including you, Scott. I see the chief's not here. But this is a pamphlet that you can take 5 minutes of your time, since I took a lot more to do that and to get here, and so did the people who also do this. But it literally shows you what safe pointing is, what Scientology does, and it has every single front group that donates to either the Hollywood directly to LAPD or through group systems that you might be aware of, that you might go, oh my God, ABLE or Drug Free World, these might open up your eyes. So please take the time to actually, can I give this to you? To actually look at every single one of those, because you will find in somewhere in your division, or even people that you know that you work with, that could be your friends, they have infiltrated. They are part of one of these programs. And again, like I said, Scientology does not believe in mental health and physical body health. They believe that children are small beings and big beings in small bodies. So they don't treat children internally or outside like children. They treat them like adults. You can see where the line is very blurred. If you see any of these groups, please be aware of that. Make that your point to stop allowing all this human sex fucking trafficking.
Octavio Solores.
Yeah, so Scott Harrelson, nothing happening, complete lie. This happened from me getting in front of a pregnant woman, getting ready to be assaulted by one of your officers. All I did was step in front of her, and I was hit directly in the face with a punching motion with a baton. I don't know if that's how y'all are trained, is to directly hit people in the head, but that is so dangerous. If it hits me in the eye, if it hits me in the temple, if it hits me in my nose, I'm gone. How are we showing our future generations how are we showing our youth is this how we show our youth to enact their First Amendment rights? Not only were less than lethals fired upon them, I witnessed the cartridges being taken and hidden. All the other protests that I've seen, those cartridges have been left on the ground because you guys don't clean up after your fucking selves, and you leave them on the ground, and people collect them. You guys were hiding that evidence. You guys were hiding this officer after he struck me, after he struck another journalist in the hand. When is this trend of 9 figures in settlements every year draining the city gonna end?
That's all I got right now. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you all.
Katie LaFront. Is Katie here? Oh.
Hi. I had something prepared, but it's specifically for Chief Jim McDonnell, and he does not respect us, so he didn't come. I'll save that for him. It should concern all of you that the chief of police of one of the largest militarized police forces said he's not going to enforce the law, regardless of whether or not it stands. He's not going to enforce it because he doesn't agree with it. That should concern everybody here and every single elected person across the country. Because that means that the chief of police does not believe in democracy. He does not believe that the people have a voice. Because we elected people to pass those laws. And by not enacting that law, not enforcing any of them, it silences us. Every single one of you up there, you literally hold the lives of the people of this city in your hands. You decide whether people live or die. And from what I have seen, you treat that responsibility with the carelessness of a fucking video game. I mean, the LAPD is out there playing like RPG, cosplay, Call of Duty. I get that. They want to play with their fucking toys. I expect more from people who actually, no, I take that back. I don't expect anything from any of you motherfuckers. Here's the thing. You guys are feeding a system. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. Chief McDonnell, he made a mistake. You guys blew your cover. This idea that the police, that, by the way, you only really tried to sell to white people, it should concern you that somebody like me has given up their entire life to show up. I will not do anything. It is my fucking mission to show this city what the LAPD is doing. They are a cartel. And everybody in the city needs to know. Every person of color already fucking knows it. They don't need to know. They've been telling us for years. The way you guys hold power over the people, it is no different than a gang. It's no different than a cartel. When the chief of police says he's not going to enforce the law, when I see LAPD literally drive by a kidnapping where there's no visible anything, you don't know who this person is, just a human trafficker. And I can see the fucker's face. He is driving by, the window is down, didn't even pause. Somebody's beating women on the ground and throwing people in vans, and they didn't even pause. You're telling me their goal is safety? Fuck you. That is so infuriating, and it's so dismissive of the people. All of you are feeding a system. You're all getting paid. You're all slave catchers. You like being the overseers of this city. But guess what? People are waking up. Everyone now knows that they're in a cage, and there's nothing left to lose.
Madam President, we're at 60 minutes and we have about 15 cards left. How would you like to proceed?
Of course not.
Eric Landberg.
My name is Eric Langberg. I'm a photographer who's been documenting the city's response to ICE since June. I'm here to tell you what I saw on Wednesday downtown during the student walkout. Assistant Chief Harrelson, it is a straight up lie to say that the LAPD did not move into a crowd control posture to limit those kids' First Amendment rights. I'm surprised by very little these days, but that is jaw-dropping that you would lie to the public like that. I witnessed your officers repeatedly run into the crowd of teenagers, swinging their batons, chasing them through the streets. I was hit in the arm myself while I was photographing. I witnessed Officer Heisterman fire a less lethal round into a crowd of teenagers, striking one in the leg. I witnessed your officers intentionally strike a journalist with a visible press pass in the hand, as if intending to knock the phone out of his hand. I'm gonna speed through because I had more to say, but here we are. That very same afternoon, shortly before those kids showed up, I witnessed the LAPD arresting a man who'd been struck by an ICE agent's car. The ICE agent wore a mask that said police across his face, and he was in a Hawaiian shirt patterned with RPGs, which is the mark of the Boogaloo Boys, a right-wing militia trying to spark a second civil war. He lounged on the back of an LAPD car while they arrested. I hope you are all ashamed because the alternative is that you support it. That's unconscionable. I hope you are ashamed.
Susan Rocha. Susan Rocha? No. Okay. Dandiwe Abdullah?
3 minutes, just like everyone else, but okay. I could ask any of these cops in here. I'm sure they've all seen someone in their team doing something illegal and haven't said anything. We know that you're the biggest criminal organization in Los Angeles, but somehow y'all keep asking for more money and getting it, even though you are causing the city so much in liability payouts. That's not what my tax dollars are for. Also, yes, Scott Harrelson, we know you're a fucking liar. We've all seen the videos. A simple Google search, a simple scour of the internet will show you what real journalists have captured from the scene. So whatever. We know why Jim McDonald doesn't like the mask. It's because he probably is jealous that they get to wear masks. How many police officers used to moonlight as KKK? It's the same. It's literally the same. Teresa, I just found out that you wanted to be a celebrity judge. You're out here acting like Doctora Ana Maria Polo from Caso Cerrado. You're not her. You're not. Your name is not Teresa.
Next we have Gato. Gato.
Hello, everybody. Fuck you all, fucking kidnappers, gang stalkers, pieces of shit, IDF bootlickers, because that's what you are. You women and children abusers. I'm being watching you beat up people in there every fucking day at the protest. I'm being watching you shooting kids. I'm being shot myself, run over by horses, and you don't do anything else but violence. You're a piece of crap, motherfuckers. That's what you're training in fucking Israel? Because you're following the same tactics that they use against Palestine. We're not Palestine. We're Los Angeles. So fuck you all motherfuckers that don't do shit but create violence. I see you chasing kids, beating up kids. Last day, yesterday actually, in 3 protests, you came against kids that were dancing in front of the city hall. What did you do? You're the instigators. You're the one provoking the violence in here. No one else. Why are you shooting kids? Why are you pepper spraying kids? I'm being pepper spraying more than anything with you motherfuckers. But you pieces of shit, bootlickers, that's what you do here, create violence. The only instigators and criminals in here are you bitches on uniform. That's what you do here.
T. Next we have T. Okay. Nady. Nady. Grace.
LAPD is moving even further towards becoming a secret police force. For months, the public has condemned masked agents abducting people while hiding their identities. The LAPD is already fighting in court for the same secrecy. For nearly 3 years, LAPD has been blocking a public records request for official service photos of officers hired since 2024. Officers who interact and harass the public every single day in uniform. The city itself previously argued these photos are public. Now LAPD claims every officer's identity should be confidential because they might someday work undercover. That is the logic of a secret police force.
When Stop LAPD Spying made officer photos searchable in 2023, LAPD sued twice, falsely claiming undercover officers were exposed. We won both cases. The city admitted no undercover officers were involved. Chief Moore announced the Inspector General would investigate and release a report. That report never came out because the goal was never accountability. The goal was to create the pretext.
Quinn.
This week, we have nearly $4 million for drones as, quote, first responders. We understand this to be mission creep. You proposed drones at the start for barricaded suspects, and now we know that they're first responding, except your fine print says your drones are actually for, monitoring protests, crowd control, and crime hotspots. To LAPD, crime hotspots are actually just areas where poor black and brown folks live. And mission creep just means that your proposed missions are never your true missions. Your drone history tells us your drone's true missions has always been to stalk and surveil. Drone feeds go to real-time crime centers, and they will soon be going to the new ones that you're constructing. Folks have been mentioning just how extensive your collaboration with ICE is, but your information via real-time crime centers from drones to ALPRs is just another arm of the deportation machine. Flock is an automatic license plate reader vendor who leases data to LAPD, and it's no secret that you've been simultaneously sharing that data with ICE. Other cities have canceled their contracts, but of course, this city brags that LAPRs in LA have billions of hits, and it's not just mission creep, it's creepy. But the thing is that we're not defenseless. We know that safety will never come from you. We are all we have, and we are all we need. We don't need drones.
Hamid Khan.
Back me out. I'll take my 3 minutes. So this whole bullshit about mask and what Grace started that we talked about that Stop LAPD Spying released this website, watchthewatchers.net, in which we publish searchable online the photos of all LAPD pigs and their salaries. Well, since then, we've been asking to get an update on who's been hired since 2023 so we can update the website so people can know. That's exactly why the mask issue is going on. It's all about secret police. Just as we talk about secret ICE, it is all about secret police, and that's what they're doing. Moore, at the time, threatened us. He called the FBI to investigate. There were 2 lawsuits that were filed against us. We won both of those lawsuits. Both of those lawsuits we won, to the extent that the city had to pay the lawyers for Ben Camacho and Stop LAPD Spying $500,000 or $600,000. This is how they're fucking spending the city's money. But here we are, we've been in court, but they're saying they're not going to release the photos.
Your 1 minute is up. You are being disruptive. This is your first and last warning. Mr. Khan, please have a seat. You are being disruptive. You are going to be removed. Please. Officers, he is being removed. He's over the 1 minute.
This is all about secret police. This is all about secret police. The second thing is about the drones. In 2014, they got these drones from Seattle PD, right? Powered by Dragon Power. So that's what they're doing. So we gotta fight them. We gotta stop them. Then this is what they're doing about the secret police. I'm not necessary. I'm walking back. This is what they're doing. This is about mission creep. This is about secret police. This is about weaponizing the LAPD. This is about militarization. This is what continues. The license plate reader.
I don't even know how to run a meeting. We asked to hear and speak. We're the public. You work for us. What you feel does not matter. You work for us. You're not doing your job.
Have a seat, everyone. Have a seat. If you want to continue, have a seat.
How about you do your job?
The Board of Commissioners cannot conduct an orderly meeting because you are not seated and you're not giving the other people an opportunity to speak.
Do your fucking job, you Nazi bitch.
This creates an actual disruption. If you do not stop immediately, I will order the room cleared pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957. Have a seat, everyone, so we can continue.
What does the Brown Act mean to you? The Brown Act doesn't
Because the disruptions have not stopped and the board is unable to conduct an orderly meeting, I am ordering the room cleared pursuant to California Code Section 54957.9. The room must be cleared.
Madam President, please let the record reflect that we are back in open session. The board has concluded its work in closed session, and we'll have a report out by the executive director.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, with regard to agenda item 6A1, at the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners on February 10th, 2026, in closed session, the board made the following findings by a 5-0 vote. Tactics, tactical debrief, 1 police officer, 3, and unintentional discharge, negligent discharge, administrative disapproval, 1 police officer, 3, and that concludes the report out.
Thank you, Mr. Sibley. We'll now move to agenda item 4, consent agenda items. We have agenda item 4A through K. Do any commissioners wish to pull any items? Commissioner Shields?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
None, thank you.
Commissioner Scobin?
No, thanks.
Commissioner Tabor?
Aye.
No,
Commissioner Sanchez Gordon?
I do not.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the recommended board actions for items 4A through K?
There is a motion to approve the recommended board actions from A to K.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. We'll now move to agenda item 5A, verbal presentation, drone as first responder program update, and we have Commander Liam.
Good morning, Good morning, Commissioners, Inspector General Barragon, Executive Director Sibley, Chief Harrelson, and members of the public. I'm Commander Brian Liam from Office of Operation, which currently oversees the Drone as First Responder Program, commonly referred to as DFR. And I'm joined today with Officer Darren Castro. He's from our Innovation Management section. As you can see, we have a drone with us here today. Darren, would you mind kind of holding it up? This is one of the drones we are using in our DFR program. It weighs about 5 pounds. Is about 25 inches wide, 31 inches long, can obtain speeds up to 45 miles an hour, and depending upon the weather conditions like wind or rain, has a flight time of about 35 to 38 minutes. Since our start on July 17th of 2025, and as of February of this year, the DFR officers have flown over 679 hours and totaled over 3,386 flights. So in a second, I'd like to show you 2 short videos. The first video features the drone leaving from one of the docks, while the second video shows the drone returning to the dock. I hope this will give you an understanding of the drone docks in use and when I reference the docks.
Large 5 unit to respond to possible 459 suspects at 1359 East Washington Boulevard and RD 1317. Identify.
So last year when I presented the DFR program to this board, the Office of Operations had 5 stated goals. The first was a reduction in response time to calls for service. As of February 5th of this year, the drone has been first on scene approximately 52% of the time. This is typical for DFR programs across the country. The second objective of documenting incidents for criminal prosecution has been accomplished countless times. For instance, we have captured video of suspects in possession of a gun attempting to hide it, suspect fleeing retail stores after committing grand theft, domestic violence in progress, located a suspect wanted for kidnapping, DUI drivers, and etc. The next objective, which is optimizing department resources, is a near daily occurrence as well. On October 15, 2025, the program began tracking arrests and detention the DFR was involved in. As of January 31st of this year, the DFR unit has been involved in 84 arrests and 50 detentions. Furthermore, of the flights the DFR unit has launched, about 10% of them have successfully canceled patrol unit response completely. So the DFR unit was able to handle the call, allowing these units to attend to other higher priorities. Regarding the last two objectives of enhancing officer safety and assisting ground personnel in assessing situations more effectively, the DFR unit officers can relay aerial perspective directly to the officers on the ground before they arrive at scene. This allows patrol officers to make better informed decisions and de-escalate situations more effectively. I'll provide an example of this a little later in the presentation. Go to the next slide. While this slide outlines the specific prohibited uses memorialized in our department policy, the overarching principle of the DFR program is that this is a technology and not a weapon, and it's not a substitute for constitutional policing. Drones may only be used in a manner that is lawful, transparent, and operational necessity. They are never deployed to harass, intimidate, or target individuals or groups, nor to identify participants engaged in lawful First Amendment activity. The next slide. The DFR unit currently has 3 drones. They're housed in the docks. You saw 2 of those on the roof here at headquarters, and 5 standalone drones. They've been utilized in the 2 docks here at Central and 1 dock in Topanga area. So the drone docks allow for remote operations without the need for personnel to be at a location where the drone is being operated. So again, we can be here at headquarters flying the drone that's in the valley or anywhere else. The 5 standalone drones have been rotated throughout all 4 geographic bureaus under the Office of Operations that don't have docks. So we call this crew base. This means a DFR officer takes a drone out in the field, usually to one of our stations that does not have a dock. From that remote location, he does the on-site battery exchanges, charges batteries, while it's actually piloted or actually flown from the DFR office. This has allowed us not only to test the effectiveness in the field, but also to assess the logistics of our stations for future dock-based expansion. And the next slide. So in this incident, the drone arrived ahead of ground personnel on a man with a gun call in Devonshire. From the onset, the drone was able to observe the suspect's behavior and relay critical information to responding officers, including that the individual appeared to be holding and manipulating what looked like a firearm and was positioning himself in the roadway. In addition, as you can see from the photo on the left, the subject was pointing a gun at vehicles as they passed. This early visual assessment allowed patrol officers to approach the scene with a clear understanding of the potential threat before making contact. As officers arrived, the drone continued to provide overwatch and updates, including the suspect's movement. After he discarded the object, the suspect was not complying with the officer's commands and then returned back towards the gun that he had dropped in the street. This information supported safer tactical decisions on the ground, allowed officers to maintain distance and de-escalate the situation. The drone's role in relaying the suspect's behavior, documented incident, enhanced officer safety and community safety, supported accountability through video evidence, and assisted officers in assessing the situation more effectively as it evolved. This incident was a clear depiction of all 5 of our objectives from the program being met in one single incident. The next slide. So this map's intended to give you a high-level view of where we're planning to place the drone docks. Each red circle outlines essentially a 3-mile radius. So a dock doesn't have to be placed in each geographical area to establish coverage. We just want to place them at locations that allows for overlapping coverage. So you can see on the left is the valley, and to the right is West LA working all the way across to Northeast. Although the expansion would result in 24 total drone docks spread out over 12 locations and an additional 2 standalone drones for mobile operations. We are currently limited to what parts of the city we can fly in by the FAA. We have 7 airports in and around Los Angeles that impact our ability to fly drones. Drones must be abide by different restrictions than our helicopters do. The locations we are starting with do not have any flight restrictions. We are actively working with the FAA and LAX to obtain access to additional airspace. But obviously, what we have available to us is plenty of work for us to do. In the next slide. The department maintains a dedicated community transparency portal for DFR on the department's public website, lapd.online.org, to ensure the community has direct access to data and information on the program's operations. From the homepage, community members can navigate to the portal by selecting Your LAPD from the top ribbon and then choosing Inside LAPD. The DFR page is located on the top of the column on the left side of the page, making it easy to locate. The QR code on the left of this slide navigates directly to the page, and this is what's being distributed into community meetings and roll calls. It begins with the mission, explains DFR is, and outlines the objectives on the program on the website. The dashboard illustrated in the picture at the lower left of this slide displays the flight paths, types of calls responded to, and the time and date of each flight. This page continues with a dedicated section for questions or concerns, reinforcing the department's commitment to transparency, accountability, and open communication. In addition to the public-facing transparency page, Office of Operations has established a community liaison position specifically for the DFR program. The unit began tracking attendance at community meetings, roll call, training in November of 2025. Since that time, this officer has participated in 6 community police advisory board meetings, 1 clergy meeting, 1 community meeting, 2 community gatherings at Community Safety Partnership Bureau locations. These engagements have fostered community understanding, support for the program, and the verbal feedback received to date has been positive. The department will continue to utilize this position to ensure community remains informed about the DFR program, and the community members have a clear, accessible avenue to ask questions, raise concerns, or provide positive feedback. In addition to the community outreach, DFR unit has continued to provide training and informational briefings to department personnel to support effective and consistent implementation of the program. Since tracking began in November, the unit has attended 43 roll calls, 1 supervisor training day, 12 communication division roll calls, and 1 metro division roll call. These training efforts are intended to ensure that personnel understand the purpose, capabilities of the DFR program, and how and when to request DFR resources, and how drone operations integrate with existing patrol and communication procedures. Ongoing internal training helps promote safe, coordinated deployments and consistent use of this technology across the department. We're also in the process of working with training to develop a video that would be posted on our internal computer system to obtain awareness of the DFR capabilities and limitations. And the last slide. In closing, this program has made a meaningful progress in relatively short period of time. The program has met its stated objectives by arriving first on scene in a significant number of calls, improving situation awareness for responding officers, supporting safer tactical decision-making, documenting incidents for criminal prosecution, and helping to optimize the use of department resources. At the same time, the program has been implemented with clear safeguards, ongoing training, and a strong emphasis on transparency and community engagement. We will ensure the program continues to operate in a manner that is effective, responsible, and aligned with the community and department expectations. Before I answer questions you have, I'd like to add that many people in and outside the department have been instrumental in helping the DFR program obtain this level of success. I have the opportunity to appear before you today, but so many people have been part of this, so I very much appreciate all their contributions. And with that, I'm prepared to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for the information, and we also are appreciative of everybody that's been involved in this drone project as first responder, and thank you so much for the exhibit. That's very interesting. Yeah, and it's hard to believe that such a small item can provide so much information as a first responder. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to ask my commissioners who has a question first, and then I have a couple of questions. We'll go with Commissioner Tabor. Do you have any questions?
Quite interested in the drone program and its rollout. A few questions, if I may. So, how many units do we have now, and what's your anticipated number of units to be available to be used by the department over the next couple of years?
You mean drones moving forward?
By drones, yeah.
So as we move forward, we're be purchasing 24 drones. They'll be part of docks, and then 2 that will be mobile, won't be attached to a dock.
And how many members of the department, civilian and or sworn, are currently trained to operate the drone?
So right now, we have 9 officers that are through the process and 2 supervisors. We just actually held a school to certify some additional. So we have a 2-day school that's required. It's a post-certified DFR training. So it's classroom and actually hands-on. I know the Inspector General has attended when we put them on as well. And then we have a rigorous hands-on FTO kind of program after that, where they have to exhibit competency in a variety of categories, from night flights to, use of force stuff, a whole checklist, if you will, of things they need to be competent in.
Okay, so are the personnel distributed throughout the bureaus, throughout the divisions, or are they going to be centralized in one location?
No, they're centralized to here. So the Drone for First Responder program is flown out of here in the building, police headquarters.
All right, and is the expectancy that at some point this will be included in part of the recruitment processes for officers going in the future, this skill set, this knowledge?
Yes, I hope so. We're working on training and spreading the word within the department and the community, and I think that'll be part of that, sure.
All right, I have no further questions, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tabor. Commissioner Scobin, questions?
I do, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have a series of questions as it relates to the report, and then the next item is considering the donation. So, they kind of cross over a little bit.
Yep.
For clarity, in the report, it shows number of docks throughout department facilities and public and private facilities. Does that mean also that there's a corresponding drone with that dock?
Yes.
Okay. And out of curiosity, I heard a flight time of about 38 minutes.
Yes.
Like that. Is there ability to recharge in the field, or does that drone have to go back to its dock to recharge and is no longer usable?
So both. So if there's a dock, the drone lands in the dock. That dock is all things for it. It charges it, it keeps it warm if appropriate, it keeps it cold, and it downloads any video as well. And then also remotely, we can change docks there. So if there's not a dock, it can land, and we just change to hot swap, if you call it. We can just swap out batteries in the field. Or we can choose to take it off the dock, quickly change the battery, and launch it from there.
Has there been, I'm curious, has there been an analysis done of, the amount of calls that we get and the nature of those calls, and how many of those do we feel a drone will report as a first responder? I know it's 50% right now, but I'm curious what the community could expect with, this amount of drones being put into the system.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. So how many calls it can respond to, or?
Have we done an estimate of how many calls do we feel, or what percentage of calls do we feel the drone will be responding to?
No, I don't think I can give you a percentage because it varies. So as calls come out, the pilots are making an assessment if it's an appropriate call to launch the drone to. So obviously a call inside our residence isn't something likely we would. But obviously it's a retail theft or occurring inside a business, then that's something we would. So it fluctuates, call load fluctuates from day to day, hour to hour. I don't think we have quite enough data to make that assessment yet. Certainly that's something we'll be looking at in the future.
Would burglaries be a...
Sure, absolutely. And again, that's with the pilot's responsibility. They've been trained and they all have a 107 license from FAA, so we hold them accountable for the appropriate use of the drone. But that's why we have police officers that understand tactics and understand those calls. So they're making an assessment if that's an appropriate call to fly to or not.
And how are those pilots ultimately notified of a situation, and what's the determination? Like, who makes the determination to send it?
So while the officers are making the determination, they're listening to the radio, and then they're logged in. So they're actually logged on as a unit. The drones all have call signs. So the officers out in the field see that the drones are logged on. So the officers are making that assessment. They could be en route to one call and something else, a help call from an officer or some other higher priority calls, and the officer can make that decision to divert to another call. much like they would in the field, frankly. This
Right.
is very, very similar.
I have a few other questions as it relates to the data that's collected from the drones. Can you speak to what data is collected, how it's then used, where is it stored and held?
Sure, I'll let you address that.
Absolutely. So it's a good question. There's an array of data that's collected by this aircraft here. So this aircraft here is actually a computer. So there's a few pieces that are collected by that computer. It'd be the telemetry of the aircraft as it flies, and then also anything that the pilot / officer will want to record. So say that an officer does deploy this aircraft out to a call, all of that data, flight telemetry in regards to how fast it's going, wind speed, parameters that it covered, distance that it covered, that'll be captured here. If the officer does hit the record button, it is captured. The data is sent to our remote flight deck, but it is captured on a SIM card. Once the officer pilot stops recording, the aircraft will return back to its dock location. Once it docks, it will do a data dump or a data transfer. So it's going to take that data off of that SIM card, it's going to put it into our Skydio cloud, and then the Skydio cloud is going to go to our evidence.com seamlessly through an API, and that won't involve any human interaction in that piece. So that digital capture will just go seamlessly into the department's data repository upon landing.
And you mentioned Skydio. Out of curiosity, I know that we're going to be looking at donation. Does the department have a direct agreement with Skydio on this?
I'll defer to the commander on that.
So, I'm not sure what you mean, Director. So we did a pilot program. We interviewed and met with multiple vendors. When we started the pilot program, we actually started with 2 vendors. That vendor, we quickly realized it wasn't a good fit for the department. So we're moving forward with this to purchase drones with this. So our pilot and our analysis has determined that this is the best company and the best drone to fit the needs of the department. They're the only company or only drone that I'm aware of that can fly downtown in a major metro city like that. Multiple other things about that are unique. For one, having a parachute. Not all drones necessarily are equipped with parachutes out there. And a big plus for us is the Fusion Plus, it's called. So some drones strictly run off single technology, whereas this has what's called radio RF?
It has,
Radio frequency. Some drones are just radio frequency, and this has radio frequency plus cellular plus Fusion Plus, meaning it can use multiple cellular different companies. So super important for us in downtown. When we get thousands of people downtown, they all have a cell phone. It's able to bounce before different ones. So if we're in a valley and one company works better there, but we can be down in a harbor and a company works better down there, it enables it to bounce back and forth. So we don't lose connectivity. So super unique. The only vendor I'm aware of that offers that.
But my question goes to, is the LAPD contracting directly with Skydio?
Yeah, they're a subsidiary Axon now. So combination of Axon and Skydio, yes. The purchase is made directly from Skydio.
With the department?
Yes.
The department holds a terms and services agreement that would dictate data rules and restrictions and access and things like that. And the reason I ask is, look, you hear drones and it's a polarizing conversation, right? You have many in the community that are begging for technology like this and others that are concerned about a technology like this. And I think, I look at my responsibility here is to understand, what are the guardrails and the parameters around that relationship so that we can look those that are concerned in the eye and say, look, those concerns, we hear them, but, that's not what's going to happen here. And so, I know with some other technologies that we've used, we don't have a direct agreement. So we don't technically own the data. We have access to the data, but we don't own the data. And so I just wanted clarity in this situation. Do we have a direct agreement? Do we own the data? Do we have full control of the data? and ultimately, I want to ensure that, you know, I hear the data comes into, you know, our evidence.com, which is great, but it goes through the other vendor's cloud. And so do they hold on to that data, and, you know, are they bound by the same rules that we are?
So to answer one of the earlier concerns, when we were reaching out to Skydio, we were very specific in the ask that the department needs to be the sole owner of that data and in control. During our pilot period, that came to fruition. We are in complete control of that data, and we are the sole owner of that data. In regards to the data going into the Skydio cloud, as soon as it's pushed to evidence.com, it is deleted from the Skydio cloud. We have complete control of the Skydio cloud and what stays in there. On our section's behalf, we go into their database and in their repository, and we monitor to make sure that that transition happens, and it has been occurring efficiently. Skydio has no rights in this period for trial and moving forward to control those data captures and what goes in that cloud. We have complete control, and they have an extensive audit log of who goes in and any changes to those data captures. And there has been no activity on Skydio's behalf of controlling that data. We completely have everything in our grasp and our control.
And all that's been memorialized in the contract that's reviewed by City Attorney's Office, goes through ITB and the City ITA Department as well.
Thank you. I don't want to harp on it. I think it's really important. Obviously, you know, look, there's no organization that's looking to be great that's not looking at how technology can help them be more efficient, better at their job. And so I feel like as a department, we need to as well. At the same time, I think we need to make sure that we're doing things right and giving those members of the public who have a concern the comfort of knowing that we're doing the right job to make sure that everything will be used the way it's meant to and communicated, and that there are no loopholes in that. And I think data and sharing and who we're sharing with is, you know, a huge concern. So I'm happy to hear that it sounds like things are buttoned up, and I just wanted that to all be on the record, that we do own the data, we are in control. You know, Skydio does talk about that they have integrations with other companies like Flock, who have been in the news, et cetera. So, you know, I want to make sure I'm clear that Skydio themselves don't have the ability to do anything with the data outside of what we do with it. Is that correct?
We are in complete control of the data. In that sense, the capabilities exist, but they do not occur. So it is complete control of us. Our org admin, we push all of that data to our repository, and we are in complete control.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Garcia?
Yeah, thank you for the overview, and thank you, commissioners, for the questions. So similar question I had was, are there mobile docks? You answered that there are going to be 2 mobile docks. And so I'm curious, how many officers are trained to change the battery or manage the mobile docks, and how long does that take?
So right now we have 9 officers and 2 supervisors that are trained. So that's part of the training. It's a 2-day post-certified class. So that's part of the training. They learn the drone maintenance, changing batteries, everything out in the field. So that's all inclusive part of the training. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question?
How long would it take to change a battery?
It's real quick. They're just magnetic. So in the field, they very quickly can change the batteries.
So if you go back, look at the back of this aircraft, this is the battery here. You would just hit this here. Unfortunately, we have a payload attached and I can't take this battery off, but the operator would just hit this. This is a battery meter. It would be 1 or 2. They just slide this out and slide it back in, and then the aircraft is good to go.
So the payload is the Fusion Plus attachment. That's where we can put different cellular cards in there, which is huge for us.
And how many of those drones will have the Fusion Plus
They all will.
field?
They all will have that. That's my mandate. It's a safety factor for us being a major metro city with so many different cellular companies out there, so many users, and then downtown with the buildings. It's a must.
So being that the case, how do we change the battery?
With that one, it just takes a little longer. He'd have to take that piece off. But typically, those would be out of the docks.
Okay. And where are those 9 officers stationed?
They're here at police headquarters.
Okay. Is there going to be a plan in the future to train officers out in the field so that officers are in the field, trained and able to change the batteries?
No, because there's much more to that than just changing the batteries. I mean, we're going out and giving training for awareness and et cetera. But there's more to it than just changing the battery. So I don't envision that. The docks spread throughout the city allow us not to have that manpower. So we're much more efficient to have 9 officers, 10 officers downtown from one central location that can fly from all those. Where we deploy docks is somewhere, or where we deploy drones without docks is somewhere we don't have a dock. The mobile DFR would go somewhere where there's not a dock, or at least not yet. So that's why we use the mobile DFRs in all the different stations to make sure there was no interference, no issues there. We wanted to try all throughout the city as much as we possibly could.
Okay. Can you define a little bit about what coverage means? So you showed us the map and the coverage areas. What is this threshold for coverage? Does it mean, and really I'm looking at like flying time. If it takes 10 minutes to get there and they could only stay for 10 minutes and then need 10 minutes to fly back, like is that coverage? What's the minimum amount of fly time that meets the threshold to be able to say there's coverage there?
Well, I don't think we have a minimum. I think it's operational. This is a reasonable overlay. Certainly, as we got additional funding or expansion down the road, I'd like to add some more. The more coverage or the closer the drone is, allows for more time overhead. So if you fly within these rings that we showed, those are about 3-mile radius. They can fly to a call, stay on overhead 10, 15 minutes, and then potentially have to fly back. So if you fly, they can fly beyond these rings, fly beyond 3 miles. That's not the issue. The issue is battery life, how long they can fly. So we can fly, 30, 40 minutes one direction, but then the battery's dead and they're going to have to land. So that's obviously counterproductive. So we will often, if there's a call and something significant going on, we'll fly a drone out there. It can park it there. They can bring another drone out next to it and then bring the other back home, if you will. So we can rotate drones like that. So very, very busy places like here at headquarters, because from the headquarters here, it can hit 5 different divisions. So somewhere like here, we want to put 3 docks. There's 2 upstairs now. We'd like 1 more. Some other places, not as busy, not as heavy call load, 2 is probably sufficient.
Got it. And then question regarding the mobile units or the mobile docks. Would that help us in the future get around the no-fly zones, being that it's a local flight and a local
No fly is no fly. What will help with us is the relationship with the FAA, and we have a good record with them. What we use mobile DFR, a good, better example maybe is street racing. So we get information to some street racing going to occur. We'll launch the drone with the street racing task force or with officers. The drone captures the criminal activity, and then we're able to make an arrest. Now you have great video to go with the ticket that goes to court. So that's somewhere we didn't have, obviously we didn't have a dock in that area.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, Commissioner Shields, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation and for the report. I'm particularly interested in the number of police calls that have been essentially canceled or cleared by the drone as a first responder. So I think you mentioned that, they're about 52% of the time the drone is first to arrive, and that there's over like 3,000 flights being made, and 10% of those, the department is able to cancel other patrol vehicles from showing up.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what types of calls have those been, or because I think that is a major resource for the department in terms of saving patrol officers from responding, which will clear up and open up the calls for other people to respond to more urgent matters. So do you have a sense of the types of calls that fall into that category?
No, I think it's, I don't have specifics. I'd have to follow up with you with that. I think it's a variety of calls.
Okay.
It could be everything from, traffic collisions that aren't in an intersection. Typically, I think a common one is like a 450-man radio call. The drone can get that intersection, the citizens give a description, and they can, with confidence, clear that area, that there's no such person there, there's no issues there. So I don't think it's a specific kind of call. We are working, to your point, to try and identify what the cost savings is. If a drone responds and is able to cancel the responding units, what's the dollar savings there? We're working on that piece. We have an exact number. I don't have that exact number here today.
Yeah, I think there's the dollar saving aspect to it, and also how the community gets so frustrated by having to wait to have someone show up from a 911 call or just being on hold for 911 calls. So the ability to alleviate that burden on the community, I think, is a huge saving. Even aside from cost saving, I think that helps the community feel safer here in Los Angeles. So I think that's a great thing. And also, the situational awareness aspect, I think, is also a very important aspect of this program in terms of providing real-time information to officers. And the example that you showed, when you say, like there's a drone and it's seeing stuff, like there's actually an officer that is communicating in real time with the officers in the field, right? Like telling them, so the man has a gun, he's put it on the floor, real-time communication, right?
Yes, exactly. So in the picture I showed, the drone gets there first, they confirm that the suspect is there, and immediately the police officers in the drone are communicating with the responding officers exactly where the suspect is, where he is, and how they should approach. So you literally see the two units pull up. They stay behind their doors, which is what we want. They tactically, deploy on the suspect and start communication. So they know he's armed with a gun. They're not going to approach. They're staying behind the doors, is what we want. The drone's able to articulate to him that he dropped the gun. It's in the street. So that's important. Obviously, he's no longer armed. So all that, I think, is huge for de-escalating and for both officer safety and community safety.
I agree. And I know from working with the department earlier to just launch this drone program that, you personally had visited a number of different departments across the country to identify, what they're using. And also, it sounds like you've visited different vendors. And you talked a little bit of why you think, is it Skydio or Skidio?
Skydio.
Skydio. Okay, you mentioned kind of why Skydio, and in the donation request, it says that seems to be the most preferred vendor for our purposes here in Los Angeles. Can you talk a little bit about why? I think you mentioned like the Fusion Plus and the ability of, not losing connectivity. Can you talk about what happens if you do lose connectivity, and why is that Fusion Plus important?
Sure. Well, when the drone loses connectivity, and I'll let Darren speak to this if I leave anything else, but essentially it's programmed to return to home. So it's not the end of the day, but that's obviously not something that we want. Whereas this Fusion technology prevents it from losing connectivity. So since we've gone to that Fusion technology, we've not had that issue at all, despite buildings downtown. When I ask other vendors, what's their solution for me to fly downtown? They tell me Skydio. Because to my knowledge, that now this is the only vendor that's comfortable in claiming that they can fly downtown through these urban corridors, we call them. Obviously, big buildings down these alleys, et cetera. Plus, there's more than that. I think it's not just that. That is huge for us. Parachutes early on, they were one of the early ones to have a parachute. Well, I think that's one of the biggest things with the drone itself. The company, I think, is important. Very professional coming out. They provided a solid 2 days of training for our folks because now we're responsible to maintain these. So they came out and trained us on manufacturer recommendations on how to maintain these drones, how to fly their drones, how to operate their system. So their training was way above any of the other vendors that we were exposed to. And they also had a simulating system. So There's just, they require our officers to complete 6 hours on their simulator, and the simulator simulates literally flying wherever you want, downtown, et cetera. So before they're actually flying drones, they're flying drones on the simulator, which is pretty realistic.
Great, thank you. And I appreciate all the questions of my fellow commissioners, specifically about the ownership of the data and access to that data. And so, Skydio is prohibited from sharing that information, and then it comes to evidence.com and the central database, and the department doesn't provide access to that information to others, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it's helpful to know that you've been going to a number of roll calls and training officers about the capabilities and when they can, suggest the use of this. And we've rolled out a new policy now for drones, and we worked hard on that. Have people understood it, or is there any confusion currently in connection with the current language of the policy?
No, I think it's pretty clear in the department.
And are officers also being reminded that they are not to use their own personal drones, that this program is for specific department-issued drones, and that they shouldn't just have in their trunk their own personal drone?
Yes, I think it's been made aware to the employees and the command staff. I think having a drone manager for the entire drone program and those looking to go forward and add drones potentially, I think that's been a good piece as well.
Thank you.
All the questions asked by the commissioners are excellent, and you've provided, your answers provided a lot of further information. I do have just a follow-up, and I know that Commissioner Shields touched on that as a follow-up to Commissioner Scobin's question on the data. And you did indicate that the department is the sole owner of the data, and not being a techie, I have to ask this question, because the idea of a cloud out there, where you can download I can download photos I took 10 years ago because it's in the cloud. Skydio, the cloud of Skydio, I guess I want to make sure that Skydio cannot remove, skim, get in there and take any level of information, of data while it's on the Skydio cloud.
Okay, in regards to the Skydio cloud, there is an audit trail, and there's controlled access. So the Skydio, we do have Skydio personnel that have access to that, but up to this date, I have not seen any deletion of any of the data that we've captured before or after the data transfers. So to answer the question, they do have access for system maintenance to make sure that everything is running properly, and to conduct their audits to make sure that our cybersecurity updates are also processing. But up to this date, I have not seen any modification or deletion of our data.
When you say up to this date, from what date to today? From what date?
From our inception of last year, I believe it was this July, Commander?
I think so.
Yes.
So how do you monitor that? How would you monitor that? Because it seems like Skydio Cloud has this personnel to do something to that cloud. So how do we monitor it to assure the public that this data is really LAPD data and not out there in this cloud that is controlled by someone else?
So 2 parts. The first part being on the pilot's end, the officer on the pilot's end. So when a flight concludes and there's data that has been captured, the pilot's officers, that is part of their standing operating procedure to make sure that that data was transferred over into evidence.com. If it was not, they bring it to the attention of the supervisor, and then the supervisor makes appropriate modifications to make sure that that data transfers over. If that supervisor has any technical hiccups, any technical hurdles, they'll contact our section. Our staff will take a look into the environment to make sure that that data has transferred over, and if there's anything that needs to be addressed or anything that needs to be modified, we work with Skydio to make sure that it's done. So the pilots, at the end of their flight, will make sure that the data is transferred. And then the second part is our section. Our section will go in sporadically. We try to go in once a week and just monitor some of the data that's being captured in that cloud and making sure that it's transferred over. So two-part, one on the pilots and then one from our innovation management section review.
I'm not sure if this is something that the Inspector General would audit, just to make sure that there's no leakage, no skimming off the what is it, the Skydio cloud. I don't know.
I'll let you know that my team, as Commander Liam has referenced, has attended the training and has been closely integrated in this rollout. And so that's something we will be able to report back to you on based on the workload that we currently have.
Okay, thank you so much, Inspector General. I do have a final question. Looking at the proposed locations for installation of drone docking stations, I see that under the department facilities, there are 17 docks. Is that correct?
What's a total? Yes, that sounds about right.
The department facilities.
Yes.
So when you move over to the public-private facilities, they look like they're all retail locations, the malls. Is that correct? All of these.
Generally, yes. Yes. So part of the funding we're using is a retail theft grant, which makes that not only super appropriate, but also that's an area where the drone can have some impact, where it's retail theft, smash and grabs, crimes occurring in the parking lots, burglaries in the vehicles or thefts in the vehicles, et cetera. So a lot of work there for the drones potentially.
So are those the big malls within the city of LA, the LAPD area? Or are there
Well,
any other
Avenue of the
malls?
Stars is not a mall area necessarily. It's a building. They're not all malls, I guess, to your point.
Which one is not a mall? In a mall area? Which one?
Is Avenue of the Stars isn't really a mall, is it?
Century City.
No, Century City.
Well, that's Avenue of the Stars.
Right. It's not really a mall there.
Yeah, that's a business building. I believe that there's banking officers in there, but definitely not a retail location. Like I said, it's I believe 8 or 9 stories of business offices.
And those are locations that we sought out this public-private partnership because we don't have a station there. So for instance, the Vineyards is on the far west side of Devonshire Division. Devonshire Division's 48 square miles. So obviously we need, we can fly off a Devonshire station, and then we need a location much further west as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further question, comment from the commissioner?
I have two
Yes.
final questions. One, out of curiosity, the docks, are they drone agnostic? Or is it just they
yes.
only fit Skydio drones?
Yes, yes.
It
It's
is drone
specific to
agnostic.
their, not only is it specific to Skydio drones, but it's, the drones are married to that, if you will. They're attached to that. They're programmed for that.
Okay.
Dock.
I guess my thought is this might be the company today that makes all the sense, and the way technology moves, a year, 2, 3, 4 from now, there might be a new player in town. I was just curious if those docks would work with a different manufacturer.
No, not at this point, no.
Okay.
And the other portion of that is there's specific assigned code for Skydio, which enhances the security built by design mindset by Skydio. So those codes will only work for the dock to this drone. So if you were to take another drone, for example, and try to partner it with that dock, there's a security risk there, hence why that specific code in Skydio has formatted it this way for us to provide us that security.
Just speaks to how big of a decision that we're putting, our eggs in this basket. Two final questions. Have we already received approval on the retail theft grant for this use?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no concern that this wouldn't be covered under that grant?
No, I'm not concerned. Other departments have done this well before us.
Okay, And then final question. There's an initial 3-year contract, and there'll be an obligation, obviously, after that to sign a renewal. Do we know what that will cost?
No, we don't. And to your point, the way technology is evolving, maybe there'd be another player in town that we want to pursue. But no, I think that will happen in potentially even 2 years, technology-wise. So they've already upgraded these drones to be faster and open. The dock will open and close quicker. Those weren't equipment swaps. Those are just rebooting the system to allow that technology. So technology is evolving so quick that.
Thank you. And I just want to say, I appreciate all the information. I think as we look at adopting new technologies to make us better, it's critical that we have a solid foundation to build on. And based on the things that I'm hearing, we own the data, we're in control of the data, nobody else is. We have a direct contract. To me, those are solid foundations to set us up for success. So I appreciate that. And I hope that we, maybe schedule at a future meeting an update with, analytics of, what call outs do they go to, the outcomes of those, to really, give the community updates on how this is working and what we're learning and how we're continuously looking to improve in using this new technology.
And it's publicly available. They can see what calls specifically they went to, when, where. They don't get video, but they can see the flight path of the drone. So it's very, almost immediately or within a day, it uploads to where the drones have been, where we're using them.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank the commissioners for their thoughtful and insightful questions and for your answers. And I do look forward to seeing you again, maybe in 6 months, with an update on the analytics and everything else that's involved in the use of these drones. And I think with that, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
For agenda item 5B, the department's report relative donation valued at $2,100,000 for the Drone as First Responder program. Did we want to hear that? Do you want to hear the presentation? We have item 5B, the donation valued at $2,100,000 for the Drone as First Responder program. Do we have a motion?
Motion for the drone as a first responder and the donation request general fund for the LA Police Foundation.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. With no other items on the agenda, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn today's meeting.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Thank you.